What is your favorite of DC's alternate Earths, and which Dark Multiverse character do you think has the power to destroy them all? Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's time to dive back into the Dark Multiverse and revisit some of our favorite villains who we hope will one day return. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 most powerful Dark Multiverse villains and looking at, in the end, who could come out on top, or near the top at least, between them. Many of them have destroyed their own worlds, but how capable would they be of decimating others if we let them loose? Let's ponder the answer to that question as we explore their various feats and get counting. Number 10. Saint Batman. I talk a lot about the broken when it comes to the Nightfall story from the Tales of the Dark Multiverse series, but another villain who deserves your respect for how accomplished and capable he is Azrael here. After all, in reality, Azrael did not give up the cape and cowl and managed to defeat Bruce Wayne when he attempted to return and become Batman once more. He broke Bruce, took him apart, and ruled over Gotham successfully for years, terrorizing the citizens there with his harsh brand of justice. Saint Batman is a character that I also find terrifying because of how determined and relentless he is. He doesn't give up, he doesn't back down, he just keeps pressing on, keeps fighting. Of course, in the end we learned that his way wasn't as bad as we thought actually in comparison once Bruce managed to defeat him, but still, his determination and unforgivable approach grants him a place on this list. Number 9. Dawnbreaker. What happens when your will is a little too strong? Well, you get a lantern like Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker is a version of Bruce Wayne from the Dark Multiverse Earth of -32. His will was so strong that he was able to bend the rules of his ring and use it to actually kill his parents' murderer. He ended up using the darkness within himself to alter the ring, corrupting it. Another example too of how Batman's ambition as a character can twist him into something darker. Dawnbreaker, after turning away from the lanterns, eventually consumed his world with his darkness as he was approached by the Batman Who Laughs to join his and Barbatos' cause. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, just a quick reminder, if you love the Dark Multiverse like I love the Dark Multiverse, be sure to show that love by giving this video a thumbs up, and why not click that subscribe while you're down there. Number 8. ERADICATOR. If you thought a dark Superman was scary, well, prepare yourself for something equally terrifying, if not more terrifying. A darker version of Lois Lane. After Superman's death, it seemed as though there was only one final hope for him to return, but when the ERADICATOR claimed it had arrived too late, Lois decided to take on the power it carried for herself in order to continue Clark's mission as Superman. Lois of course ended up being twisted by her grief and became hell-bent on eradicating the world of all of its crime. Because of this, she became a brutal stand-in for the hero, going far beyond what Superman would have deemed just or right when it came to the punishment of transgressors. Eventually, Superman did end up returning, only to reveal how disappointed he was in the kind of hero that Lois had become. During her attempt to save Superman from Cyborg Superman, she ended up accidentally putting him in danger and actually killed him instead, this time seemingly for good. Number 7. HECATE. In the retelling of the War of Gods from the Tales of the Dark Multiverse series, we see a reality where HECATE won the day and ended up permanently taking hold of Diana. Unable to see the light and find hope again, Diana became a prisoner within her own body. HECATE was ruthless and used Diana's physical form and power in addition to her own magics to attack and destroy many of Diana's friends and superhero colleagues. In the end, only an organized attack of Earth's magic users and heroes could restrain her. Zatanna, as such, managed to have her imprisoned and held until she could hopefully find a way to free Wonder Woman from HECATE's possession. HECATE is even more powerful here than I personally would have even guessed, but magic can work like that sometimes, I suppose. I love that scene where she's just like taking out heroes like left and right, and I was like, but wouldn't they? But shouldn't they be able to? Alright then. Number 6. Robin King. Robin King might seem like just a homicidal child, but at the end of the day, he is still Bruce Wayne, and still a version of Batman, meaning that while he might just seem like a traumatized child, he was really a completely capable and calculated villain who was able to take on and defeat capable heroes like Barry Allen's Flash and the Swamp Thing with relative ease, often using the fact that people underestimated him to his advantage. At one point, Robin King even manages to use the anti-life equation equation, repurposing it to turn people into the anti-living, basically turning them into violent zombies, like the infected or corrupted that we see in Deceased. Basically, don't underestimate the Robin King. Number 5. Gaia. One of my personal all-time favorite villains that we've seen emerge from the Dark Multiverse is Gaia. Gaia is the ultimate supervillain evolution of Terra, who is the main villain of the Tales of the Dark Multiverse retelling of the Judas Contract. Here, Terra becomes inspired by Robin to take charge of her own life, but in a much darker way. His speech inspires her to reach deep within herself and unlock the true potential of her power, turning her into an insanely capable villain who turns on Deathstroke, killing him, and then attacks the Teen Titans on her own, also destroying them. When some of the most powerful heroes in DC respond, such as Superman, she also makes quick work of them, proving just how dangerous Terra could be if she had the right inspiration and motivation. I love that she's just like, now the world's mine, and it's like, okay then. Number 4. Darkseid, Avatar of Necron. Black Lantern Darkseid has to be up there for me in terms of some of the most frightening villains of the Dark Multiverse has given us. This version of Darkseid appeared in Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Blackest Night. Here, Darkseid was also infected by the Black Lanterns and ended up becoming the new Avatar of Death incarnate himself, Lord Necron. Of course, he would ultimately end up being defeated to make way for an even more terrifying reality in the end, after an attempt to save the universe went wrong. But still, before that all happened, the Black Lanterns were pretty successful here, and Darkseid would have likely been the most powerful among them. Fortunately, the Loboverse beat them out. Number 3. Barbatos. Barbatos is definitely one of the most powerful characters we've seen in the Dark Multiverse, especially considering he's basically like the creator of it, or well, at least the maintainer of it. Barbatos is also known as the Bat God and claimed to in fact be the bat that Bruce saw when he was a child, who inspired him to become the hero we know as Batman. This also kinda makes sense why so much of the Dark Multiverse seems to focus on Batman stories, considering the Barbatos himself is kind of bat themed. Barbatos was a rogue agent of the World Forger. He was his dragon who was tasked with destroying unstable universes and basically returning with their energy so that the World Forger could build something new. At some point, however, Barbatos decided that he didn't want to destroy these worlds anymore, and thus the Dark Multiverse was born. Number 2. Batman Who Laughs. Definitely one of the most powerful villains from the Dark Multiverse, especially after he got his hands on that tasty final Batman or final Bruce Wayne brain, which rhymes. Batman Who Laughs managed to double-cross Perpetua, though he was still defeated by the heroes in the end. Still, he had a pretty impressive run when it came to his feats, and even before he was superpowered, he managed to accomplish much and strike terror into the hearts of heroes and readers alike because he was just so deranged and resourceful. Basically, the combination of Joker and Batman together feels pretty unstoppable when it comes to all the horror that they could accomplish as one being. I think it's what he owes a lot of his successes to, and what made so many readers so interested in and terrified of the character as a villain. Number 1. Perpetua. Despite the fact that Perpetua technically was duped by Batman Who Laughs, she is still basically a universal constant who is also credited with creating the multiverse, and for that reason I kinda have to consider her more powerful, although in the end even she too was defeated, so not as constant as we all thought, I suppose. Perpetua, however, has the power to destroy entire realities and universes and is the mother of some of the most powerful beings in the DC universe, including the Anti-Monitor, Over-Monitor, and World Forger. Who do you think are the most powerful villains in all of the Dark Multiverse? Do you hope to see the Dark Multiverse return in some capacity? What are some stories that you'd like to see be retold in a darker light if it does return? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it is time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Supervillains You've Never Heard of 2021 edition. Ronbot comments, Red X also appeared in the racing episode of OG Teen Titans. He helped Robin in the end. I honestly hope they never reveal the identity. Some of the best things are left a mystery. Well, you're definitely right about that, and I mean, I wouldn't be upset. I would kind of be upset if they didn't reveal it, because Teen Titans Academy, there's that whole tease of they're gonna reveal it, so I kind of hope we get to find out, but if it stayed a mystery, I would also respect that. Lauren O writes, that jacket is incredible. thank you so much. I love that jacket a lot, my Batgirl jacket. It is super cool, and it's also super soft too. Sunstar responds, fantastic job with this list, Amanda. The Marvel Horsemen are awesome. They are awesome, and especially I really actually loved finding out about the original Horsemen. I know some people were like, oh, that's kinda lame, but I loved it personally. I don't know, I'm a huge Dawn of X nerd right now. I'm just all about all of the stuff that Jonathan Hickman and the creative team are doing. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and feels shouted out in a future list. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Till next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.